The events industry has raised concern about the cancellation of Matric rage events. The Southern African Communications Industries Association says it's unfair that events have followed all the protocols that were cancelled. Chairperson of the association, Sharif joins me now. Mr. Baker, a very good afternoon to you. When we look at the situation around the cancellation of the rage events in KwaZulu-Natal, who took that decision to cancel? Is it the organizers or is it government? My understanding is that this was a prerogative and an initiative of the organizers themselves.
Good afternoon, Tommy, and good afternoon to the viewers. And yes, you are 100% correct. This was at the prerogative of the organizers because of the pressure being put onto them via social media, propaganda, and unfortunately, as of this, the repercussions around the country for all events are now feeling the impact because of this, Tommy.
So what then do you propose? Because there are numbers that are rising as far as COVID-19 is concerned. The organizers looked at the situation and felt they don't want to expose anybody any further to the virus. What then do you propose should be done?
So, Tommy, let's go back, dial it back 1 year. This took place, a similar event took place last year with rage and was seen or deemed as the catalyst to the rise in infection. Bearing in mind that last year there was no vaccine. This year there are vaccines, and under the direction of the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture and the SASRIA Act, guidelines have been issued specifically around COVID-19, whereas every event, sporting event or live, needs to follow protocol with regards to vaccination and verification upon entry, or at the very least PCR tests and or rapid antigen tests. And every event is doing this, whether it be a live event, business event, or a conference. Now, unfortunately, because of the stigma that took place last year, it has now manifested again this year, and this has now had ramifications throughout the country for every event, whereas in the last 4 days, at a snapshot survey, 65% of companies have lost income and or events because of what has happened. Now, we applaud the rage organizers for doing what they did, but unfortunately, there's more to it whereby people have put this undue pressure on our eventing industry, which is going to have an economic impact of note. Because let's face it, Tommy, we are following rules and regulations. But you and I can walk into a shopping mall and there are none. And that's far more a greater threat.
You mentioned one key difference between this year and the last, and that is the presence of vaccines. How do you believe this factor needs to be factored into the plans that eventing companies are making throughout this festive season? Are you proposing that events be open to only those who are vaccinated, or that proof of COVID-19 status needs to be produced?
Tommy, very much so. Together with our social partners at NEDLAC, these are one of the proposals that are on the table. As we have already seen and are currently doing with the Department of Sport, any event that takes place, spectators on entry have to produce fully vaccinated verification certificates. And it has been met with great success, as you've seen with both Bafana games, as well as many rugby and other sporting codes have taken place. This has been met with success. It has now been requested that all live events do the same, and we currently are. But unfortunately, we're being persecuted. Let's face it, the vaccinations are here. They need to be here. They need to happen. Thus, the drive by President, Deputy President, and ministers alike for the safety of our country is vaccination. We are going to see a fifth wave and a sixth wave. So we cannot immediately put our hands up and say, oh, there's another fourth wave, let's lock down. It'll be detrimental and devastating to our country economically. So we need to find solutions. And the eventing industry is one of those solutions, especially as far as legitimacy is concerned, based and riding on the back of what has happened in the last couple of days on the international stage, where we are being targeted and persecuted for something that we are totally innocent for. In fact, we've helped the rest of the world. Now, if we can show that via vaccination, we can still host events, whether it be businesses and conferences, as well as encouraging tourism, it is going to assist us economically, on a larger scale and making sure that we all get back to some form of normality.
According to the Gauteng Command Council, the briefing that they held yesterday, in about 2 weeks' time or so, we should be entering officially the fourth wave. Now, we are also getting closer and closer to Christmas, to the festive season, and we know that traditionally this is a time when people want to relax and let their hair down. How do you believe this coming festive season is going to bear on events and eventing companies? Do you see yourselves scaling down in any way?
Until communication has been brought out by our government that speaks to the positivity of what we want to do because of vaccinations being the success for any event, we are going to see a terrible Christmas. In fact, many are now saying if you thought 2020 December was bad, this is going to be worse. And it is economically, for everyone, but especially for the live events industry that has already seen an impact, as I said, of 65% loss. By January, February, it's going to be as close as 80%. And that would be detrimental to our industry. So, yeah, this December, unless proper communication has been done, and I understand our scientists do need to do due diligence, but, yeah, I would rather have the vaccine and have the flu than it going the other way, Tommy.
Mr. Sharif Baker, thank you very much for your time. He's chairperson of the association there for the Southern African Communications Industries Association. Thank you for your time as the eventing industry continues to shine a spotlight on how Omicron is going to be affecting them, specifically as we enter the festive season.